Warframe is a game with over 50 distinct playable characters, and it seems like endless potential for synergies with hundreds of unique weapons, mods, and helmets abilities. So it's really not that hard to find at least one you'll choose over the rest at any given time. Maybe you enjoy nuking the whole apartment complex the moment you enter, so obviously you may pick Mesa because your playstyle revolves around it. Maybe you think that melee is a superior way of dealing damage, so chances are you're playing Crouver, the melee Warframe. Or perhaps you like versatility, you know, being able to clear all content there is with a single character. Most likely you're playing Walt, he's free, he's completely free. So who is this cute little lesbian, and how tight is her pussy? Hello, welcome to your biannual Warframe gaslighting session. My name is Lean, and today I'm gonna spend 20 minutes of your precious time telling you why my main is cool, based, and the greatest character in the slide! As you may already know, if you watched any of my previous videos, we are taking Warframe slop very seriously and thoroughly here on this channel. And this time, it won't be an exception. You may think of this video as of a thesis or a dissertation of sorts. Very serious stuff. Excuse me. First and foremost, what defines a great character in Warframe? Of course, it's all extremely subjective and varies from person to person, and that's why I created this objective list where every single point is undeniable and cannot be disputed. You can try to dispute it. It's impossible. It's indisputable. So from the top of the list, this character needs to be fun. It's kinda it. Everything else is completely optional, but let's be thorough about it anyway. It needs to be viable, to not feel frustrating to play as, but not too overpowered to be engaging. There still needs to be a sliver of difficulty left, so your monkey brain could see some big numbers on the screen and think of it as solely your merit, giving you that juicy dopamine hit. You see, it's not all about character strength. If we talked about strength alone, Octavia would be the best frame in the game. And she's not. She exists only to make top 1% of content accessible for people without limbs. Next, it needs to be available for the majority of the player base. For example, there are a couple of really investment-hungry frames that become fun, not good, fun, only, and only after you unlock their full potential by investing a shit ton of forma, a couple of shards, maybe slapping a legendary arcane or two. I mean, it's not really a good character design if you need to clear the majority of the game grinds or invest money to make them shine. Then, this Warframe should be playable without shieldgating. Shieldgating is the most tedious and abysmal mechanic in the whole game. No, really, it's scientifically proven. Here you can see a study with the control group of a single person. It's me, that shows a sharp correlation between time I engage with shieldgating and my rapid desire to fucking kill my scientifically proven. I told you, this list is indisputable. You can't argue with science. And at last, it should look and feel cool. I mean, it's a power fantasy game. I understand that you just might be a Pirates of the Caribbean fan, but fucking ew. There needs to be some sense of pride when you decide to main someone. I know, it's a game, and you might just like how the character plays, and you don't care at all about their look or lore, but look at you. It's clear as day you never seen a woman's vagina in your life. So after establishing what it means to be a good Warframe, let's see how it applied to my boy Neja. Is he fun? To determine that, let's take a look at his playstyle, his toolkit, his abilities. On his one, Firewalker, Neja sets his feet ablaze, slightly increasing his movement speed on the set 25%. Leaving the flaming trail behind that ignites enemies that pass through it, and makes Neja and all his teammates immune to all status effects as long as they're standing in the fire. I currently don't have any opinion on that matter, so I invited my friend, Donald J. Trump, to rant on this skill. Mr. President. Okay, it's shit. It's so bad. It's really bad. I hate it. It's pointless. Subsume it immediately. Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to have you here, especially after your collab with Johnny Somali. Don't mention it. Really, I'll kill you if you mention that ever again. Anyway, I need to prepare to become a new Guilty Gear Strive character. Donald Trump is out. But to understand why it's so bad, you just need to take a mere glance at his other abilities. His 2, Blazing Chakram, is really good, however. Pressing it, Neja will throw a disc of fire that will ricochet from walls and enemies, proccing a guaranteed hit status effect, increasing all damage they take, and forcing them to drop health orbs. When holding the button, you'll instead charge the chakram, increasing its damage, and instead of bouncing between enemies, it will pierce them through in a straight line. Pressing 2 again whenever your chakram is in the air will teleport Neja to its place, and if our boy is under effect of his 1, he will explode, creating a ring of fire under him and dealing a minuscule amount of damage. Yeah, it's also very fucking bad, but it's not a problem of his 2. It's just another proof that his Firewalker ability needs to be changed through the mid-chair immediately after you build him. My favorite ability in the whole game, by the way. Would absolutely love to see it subsumable. Neja's 3, Warding Halo, is a scalable shield. Well, I guess I need to explain, because for some reason there's still a bunch of people who are wondering why exactly the Rhino sometimes casts a 20k capacity overguard and sometimes a 20 million one. There are a couple of shield abilities in the game, like already mentioned Rhino's Iron Skin, Yareli's Merulina, and yes, Neja's Warding Halo that convert all damage taken during the invincibility period after activation into overguard, or the ability's health bar. That's why catching a lucky Jade Eximus could potentially make you immortal for the rest of the mission on these guys. So it's better than Merulina, because Merulina literally makes you unmovable on certain layouts. It's worse than Iron Skin, because unlike Iron Skin, it doesn't block damage. It heavily reduces it, and no matter how much you are gonna scale the Halo, 10 million damage proc with 90% damage reduction is still a million damage. But still, it's more than enough to survive the absolute majority of Warframe's high-end content. Upon activation, it will cleanse Neja from all negative status effects and make him immune to them until it depletes. Hey look, it's the second skill in his own toolkit that does what he's one trying to do, but a lot better. I also need to mention that you can't recast the Halo while it's active. It may seem annoying, but having a 5-second invincibility window, combining the 3 after activation and 2 after depleting, may be a little too powerful and would completely negate the damage reduction issue on highest level. But why the fuck a relic? And the last and the most annoying thing about it is that Halo can be dispelled, making Neja a little tricky to play against Corpus. It also means you have to recast it whenever you fall into any pit. Not a big fan of it either. On his 4 Divine Spears, Neja impales enemies around him, stunning them for 12 seconds, dealing a tiny amount of puncture damage and opening them for ground finishers. Pressing the button again will force the spears to disappear, ragdolling enemies and dealing a tiny amount of impact. There's also a fun little synergy. If you throw a blazing chakram at the impaled enemy, it will duplicate, creating an additional one that will in turn spawn even more chakrams upon hitting another spirit enemy. It's fine. It's not the best tool in Neja's kit, but it works fine for crowd controlling. A lot better than his 1 in any case. It's fine for stacking your incarnates. I like it, I use it a lot, but it could be better. Neja's passive is kinda controversial for some reason. It strongly improves his slides, making them faster and longer. Oh look, it's like his minuscule movement speed buff from the Firewalker feels even more redundant because he has improved mobility built in. Who designed it? So, why is it controversial? Well, slides are a universal mechanic every single character actively uses. Mainly for moving around. You know, roll, slide, jump, bullet jump, air glide, roll. The Warframe movement tech. And Neja's passive makes this tech even better. But still, it is universal, and some people are using it not only for traversal but also in combat. Like it's 2016, it may feel unintuitive and clunky, especially if you're playing a bunch of other frames. For people with this problem, DE, in 2020, long past the maiming strike meta, dropped an Exilus mod for Neja that just turns his passive off. There is also a bunch of fucking purists who are claiming that you aren't a real Neja main if you are using it. I don't know about that. In my opinion, you aren't a real Neja main unless you're actively fantasizing about men's penises. So, to sum it up, our boy has a very useful passive, an incredible health and energy generation ability that acts like a damage multiplier, one of the best shields in the whole game, and an absolute garbage of a skill we can, without thinking of it twice, change to some juicy helmet subsume. Like for example Pillage for armor stripping, Roar or Eclipse for easy triple dips, I don't know, like use Gloom Neja's base toolkit will give you so much survivability, energy generation, and even damage multiplying. You can just focus on everything else to make your build work. He is the vessel that enhances your experience with gun and sword play. I don't know, a really hot take here. Gun and sword play are really fucking fun in this game. Is he strong? Yes. Is he so overpowered it becomes boring to play the game? What? No, on Neja you can just roll through the 5-hour survival standing on the same place and pressing one single button. But he is absolutely capable of completing them while engaging with the game's mechanics, moving and actively using his buttons to keep himself alive. There's no full map crowd control, there's no immortality button, because at some point you will get damaged even through the warding halo. There's a room for mistakes, a giant safety net, but you still will get punished for doing something stupid. But is Neja hard to build? Okay, it's a build section of the vid. If you don't want to hear me rumble about the most autistic experience this game can provide, or you don't even play this game and clicked on a pretty preview to watch something while you're devouring your DoorDash, lol, feel free to skip to the next chapter, because it's not like I'm gonna bother editing this one. So here's my build. I threw it together immediately after getting my Umbral modes back in 2023 and haven't changed it ever since. It's absolutely capable of reaching the level 4000 without any problems and can be easily adjusted if you are poor or if you want to go even further. But it ain't the point. I made this build not to reach the level cap, but because having 400 ability strength is really funny. I subsumed Roar on his one, because I love using Slash, and I'm a lazy sack of shit that hates changing my Bane modes. Works great with my maxed ability strength also. Here you can see a full set of that gives a shit ton of power, armor and girth. Here's health conversion, a mode you didn't know existed, unless you are some kind of a YouTuber or accidentally sold your Zoris blueprint. Is there like any other reason to browse the Simaris shop? Anyway, you can buy it from this guy after scanning a bunch of synthesis targets. It gives an insane amount of armor to scale Neja's free after picking up some health orbs he has almost unlimited access to. Definitely not a must and can be easily substituted for, I don't know, Carnis Carapace? Surely you have it. I'm using Blind Rage. Don't forget to pair it with Flow if you want to cast more than one ability per energy bar. And at last here's Continuity for a little bit of duration, purely so I won't have to renew Roar that much. Some may point that my mods aren't even maxed out. Am I fucking stupid? Excuse me, I spent all my credits buying every Protaframe app pool table. Not like it's matter, but what does matter is Equilibrium, a very good, very strong mod, OP on every frame that can produce balls, lol, balls. Gives you a ton of energy after picking up a health orb, gives you a ton of health after picking up an energy orb. Very simple, very good, very useful. However, it leaves an issue. You can't normally use health pickups on full HP. The game just doesn't allow you to. And that means you can't convert all these wasted health pickups into energy using Equilibrium. And I don't really like to waste stuff. Gladly there is a way to counter it. You can use rank 1 combat discipline. Why rank 1? Simply just so you won't immediately prolapse yourself after firing your gun once. You can also use a synth fiber mod on any companion of your choice. Both of these options are completely viable, but I strongly prefer the later one, because I love having my aura mod at least remotely useful, and I'm already actively using a pet. So here's my Panzer Wupperpfeiler, the easiest S-tier pet you can get in this game. Spreads viral better than a New York rat. As I said, guns on Neja are doing all the heavy lifting. How strong is your weapon proportionally correlates to how good you'll be at killing shit. Don't get me wrong, Roar with Blazing Chakram and 10 stacks of viral from your Wupperpfeiler can make even MK1 Paris good on Steel Pass. I tried, don't use a fucking stag and you'll be fine. Here's a couple of suggestions of shit I actively use. First and foremost is of course Dual Toxicosis Incarnon, the single best weapon in the whole game. Extremely strong, really fun, not so hard to build, requires a quite low MR11 to use, my favorite gun in the whole game overall. Some may argue that you can throw a pair of these on any character to make them OP as fuck. What next, quest boy? Are you gonna tell me to use the Riemann incarnates? Yes. Here's my Leitum build. Here's my Fenrir build. Don't use Felarks, it's not that good. Very strong weapons, very easy to build. Just need MR14 for that. It's a big MR, big mastery rank. If you have like MR5 and you somehow unlock the steel path, here's an Otaruk build. It's completely free, no mastery requirement. It's great even without galvanized modes. Just throw 100 munitions and it should work fine. Melee is also really viable and inexpensive. I tend to prefer the heavy attack builds due to my inability to resist an urge to look at the big red colored numbers, but they are working especially well with this setup. A large crit with a forced slash status effect application under a roar for double dipping, throw a life strike for some vampiric, makes you immortal. Any slashing stick with a high base crit and a guaranteed slash application on heavy attack would work. I use Reaper Prime because I'm cool. Use Hate if you got lucky with Stalker drops. Azotane is also amazing and a lot easier to get. Any Nikana would also do the trick as well. Like Skiayati. It's free and it's already pre-installed with 2 Umbral Formas, so you won't need to invest anything to use this build. Nikana heavies are clunky as shit though. And at last, is Neja cool? Playing a Firebender warrior hero is great and all, but there are a couple of issues that are making this question complicated. First of all, I'm talking about femboy allegations. They're completely stupid and not supported by anything other than the fact that his default skin has round shoulders and a slightly narrow waist. They're also really funny. Anyway, the fact remains, joining public lobbies on this character would force your teammates to immediately assume that that's your drink, that's what you listen, and that's who you watch on YouTube. Neja is one of 2 Warframes based on the Chinese mythology. The one who doesn't have a luxury of being associated with Goku. At least, not directly. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this aesthetic. Conceptually, it's cool and all. You know, cultivation, spirituality, flying feminine dudes fighting with sticks. But I think the modern depiction of it doesn't look very appealing. There's almost no lore about our guy directly in the game, and that sliver there is tells not about Neja himself, but about his warrior cult of children from some farm he once defended from the corpus, descending from the skies like a fucking 40k god emperor, reviving the kids with his holy flame and impaling, slicing and incinerating the corpus attackers. Then he took every single child into his celestial army and disappeared, leaving only the storyteller so he could pass the tale about this massacre. Miarelli is such a piece of shit, it's not even funny. The best part of the story is its ambiguity. Maybe Neja really genocided the whole Corpus squad and ascended kids from his cult into celestial warriors, or maybe he died trying to protect them, considering that the place of the massacre became an archaeological site where Corpus found a bunch of his relics and the kid telling the story wore his helmet. It's a great lore. Sadly, Neja was made as a China exclusive Warframe, so DE could not give less of a fuck about him. So sad. Just give me Neja Gemini. I made the design myself. Just fucking do it. I hope this list could convince you to give Neja a chance. Of course, he isn't the greatest Warframe. I lied, but I really like him and I truly believe that he is underappreciated and not even remotely as popular as he deserves to be. And since I now have over 1,000 of you guys watching my Warframe related slop, I thought I could share a thing I sincerely enjoy with you all. Build Neja, try him out, experiment with him, and tell me what you think about him in the comment section. Don't you fucking dare saying his shit. I know where you live. I'm inside your fucking wall. My Warframe related slop.